Adjutant online.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another GGvision StarCraft 2 Colosseum episode with me, Sebastian Sjöberg, and our gladiators of today, which is a Saturday, by the way. Empire.Kas, here's the yellow Terran in the lower left starting position of a very special map. Here we see his opponent NightEnD playing as the red Protoss here in the upper left, and the map is indeed called iCCup Neo Enigma. We'll get more into that later. Here we see these players will face each other in what is actually, I do believe, the fifth final and deciding best of 5 in the constantly ongoing ESL Cup. Taking place under the banner of iCCup. It's all a bit technical, but this is a consistent ongoing European championship where indeed the best and mightiest of StarCraft 2 pro gamers meet on a constant basis, and the players that get ahead in these tournaments, we usually see them up in the really big ones, and it's also a qualifier into the later stages. Here we see NightEnd's probe finding the Ukrainian menace Empire.Kas first hand. Kas going for a quick barracks here right after his supply depot, of course. Meanwhile, we see the first gateway being deployed by NightEnD. Now, who is NightEnD? Because Kas you've seen on this channel before, and you've surely seen him in the later stages of the recently concluded Teamliquid Starleague number 3. NightEnD was also in said Teamliquid Starleague, here going for a fairly quick earlier simulator. And he got there by qualifying in, I do believe it was the Go for SE2 Cup, where he took out Moro and got himself a position in the Teamliquid Starleague. He is from Romania and was until very recently a member of the same team as Thorstein, Praetoriani. But as you may have heard, Thorstein has left for mouz sports, and indeed NightEnD has done the same, which has forced Praetoriani to be disbanded. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now they play on the same team as Hasuobs, which of course fought Empire.Kas in the fourth place match in the Teamliquid Starleague, as well as mouz, Moro, and many others. So they're definitely moving up in the world. NightEnD is a fearsome Protoss player, and he will definitely give Kas a run for his money. Here we see the cybernetic score already on the way, and one refinery as well as a tech lab out for Empire.Kas, going for very quick concussive shells. That's a good thing, because we saw how the Emperor Slayer's Boxer forgot to build concussive shells in a game I casted a couple of days ago on Shattered Temple, and that probably cost him the game. That won't happen. Kas here, going for a quick second barracks, no fast expansion shenanigans for him. Now NightEnD is getting his first Stalker out while getting the Warp Grade upgrade, all very standard and good. Second gateway already on the way. Now getting back a bit to this map, it's called iCCup Neo Enigma. So it's not an official Blizzard map, it's purpose-made more or less for the ESL Cups, I do believe, and I've seen a couple of games on it. I haven't played it myself yet, but it has many interesting features. Here we see a gold expansion, not too many mineral patches, but on the other hand it's very close to one's natural. Here it has unbuildable terrain that you could harass from with Reapers, Colossi, or whatever else you can get up there, really. Here we see Selnaga Tower in the middle, the only one on the map, surrounded by line of sight blockers with this grass here, and it's also unbuildable, this terrain, so it has many nice features. Here we see the natural expansion, and it does look like NightEnD will go for an expansion himself. Here we see it has a very wide choke, and Empire.Kas, being not at all afraid, goes for a very quick expansion himself, but he goes for the higher price, the high yield outside his base, and fortifying it with quick bunkers. Meanwhile, we do see him putting on some early pressure with those marauders who have concussive shells already. This is definitely a sore point for Protoss players early in the game. He will probably be able to take out a few units, quite expensive. This sentry seems like it may live, that's of course what you do want to get at. A, they cost a lot of gas, and B, if they get to stay alive for a long time, their mana will build up and they will have so many Force Fields and Guardian Shields. But Kas putting on some early pressure and expands behind it. This is of course StarCraft 2 very basic knowledge. If you do expand, put on some pressure. If you're attacking, you don't have to be defending, and you can build an economic advantage in the meantime. Kas is doing that very well. He doesn't want to kill right now, he just wants to make NightEnD more defensive than what he is comfortable with at the moment. Now we see the robotics bay already up, having constructed no additional gateways yet, and getting an observer out. All very standard, good and well. Steam pack almost finished by Empire.Kas. It's now adding on 2 additional barracks. So it looks like we'll be seeing the infantry army, the bio forces that we are very used to seeing in this matchup, Terran versus Protoss. And that's all good and well, though I personally miss seeing mech-based play. I think such things, they come with an ebb and flow as the trends and the metagame of StarCraft 2 evolve, but I think it's very versatile and should definitely be implemented more. We of course saw TLO go infantry with nuke support in a game versus mouz Hazuobs, nowadays a clanmate with NightEnD here on Selnaga Caverns, and that didn't pay off too well, we must admit, but it was very spectacular, and that could definitely work to a Terran player's advantage. But nukes as of yet are a quite unutilized resource in StarCraft 2. Now NightEnD is going for the robotics bay and will be pumping out those inevitable Colossi very soon, having constructed a 3rd gateway already and fully saturated this base. Only needs to take an additional assimilator and it will be all dandy. Now scouting Kas fully and completely. Kas has constructed his factory with a reactor on it. Undoubtedly he will swap factory in starport and start producing medivacs and or Vikings depending on the situation. Now going for an engineering bay, and we see the Thermal Lance is the name of the upgrade, being upgraded for NightEnD, so his Colossi will soon be out and very dangerous indeed. Unit count, we see 7 Zealots, 3 Stalkers and 2 Sentries versus the growing Marine number, 20 at the moment, and 9 Marauders. Income wise, we do see that NightEnD is well ahead in Harvesters, 44 versus 37 of Kas. Even with mules, I'd say that puts NightEnD ahead in the harvester count by a little. And well, Kas responds to that with getting his natural expansion. This is of course the ideal situation for Kas. If you can get away with taking your very lucrative gold very early, about the same time as the Protoss, actually he was well ahead, you can then safely take your 3rd expansion in what is now a very protected location. Unless NightEnD goes for some shenanigans like War Prism play or something, he will have to walk through this heavily fortified gold expansion before he can reach the main, or indeed this one. So this is an ideal economic situation for Kas. Now going for the combat shield, so his infantry will be fully upgraded, and I'm sure he'll start upgrading infantry weapons in this engineering bay as well. And here we see a 2nd starport now being deployed, and Kas had already constructed a reactor on it with his factory, so that's a very nice bit of Sim City there. And it seems like Kas is foregoing medevac production in favor of Vikings. That is of course a direct response to this growing Colossi count. We have 2 out as of yet and a 3rd one on the way, and absolutely no medevacs at all for Kas. He goes straight for Vikings, and I would not be surprised if he builds an armory and goes for attack upgrades on them as well. We've seen a lot of Terran players do that to strengthen their Viking force, because as I've been saying in several previous TVP casts here on GGvision, I now see if we can actually snipe a Colossi. That won't happen though. It's all about getting the right unit composition. As a Terran player you need to take out the Colossi immediately, and Vikings are the very best way of doing that. But if you have too many Vikings, sure you could take down the Colossi in an instant, but then the Stalker Zealot Sentry army will simply murder your 2 small infantry balls. So it's all about getting the right composition, and the same for Protoss players of course. You rarely see them get more than 5 Colossi, or Coloxen as I like to use that plural. It is crucial that you don't have too many Colossi, because then of course the infantry ball will simply trash your Stalker Sentry Zealot army, even though they're being roasted. So it's all about the composition, just as if you bake a cake. Now going for the Zealot leg speed, and Kas is going for the infantry, and here we see now NightEnD taking his own gold. and it seems like we might have a bit of a skirmish. These Vikings will want to snipe something. And here we see the 142 supply army. Soon it will crash with the Protoss army of NightEnD, and he does not have leg speed for the Zealots yet. He does not want to be attacked, or indeed attack himself before that is finished. Seems like Kas is backing off. Maybe he will attack as soon as his infantry level 1 weapons upgrade finishes. And now that NightEnD has got this expansion of his own, we do see him suddenly being in a favorable economic position if he can simply have it for a while, because by now, as you see, Empire.Kas is all but outmined. He's now expanding again here, but this means that even though he's earned more money so far, he is, but never mind that, there's an attack going on. Vikings crashing into the Colossi and they're roasting away the Bible. It seems like they will go down instantly. One Colossus fall and another one after that, but we now see them roasting away. And the sentries, seems like they will force the infantry ball back. As you can see here, Kas has 5 or 6 Vikings left standing, and there's one Colossus for NightEnD, but there were just too few Marines and Marauders in the army of Kas. He lost so much more than what he gained. Sorry, that is the wrong tab. No, that is the right tab. Units killed, we see that NightEnD is so far ahead. 60 versus 33 of Kas. And there you simply have it. You see 6 Vikings left standing, and I do believe he took out all the Colossi in the end. NightEnD is now replenishing that force, but still he lost that battle. Sure, inflicted a lot of damage, but NightEnD got away with a much better deal. So there you see the composition, as well as of course the positioning is crucially important. But what Kas wanted to do was to prevent this expansion from standing, because now NightEnD will be ahead. Kas is out of gold. Sure, he is replenishing this with a third expansion of his own, but Kas still's got 3 fully mining bases, one of which is gold, so now his income is far superior, and we can see he's added on so many gateways. Here we see 8, 9, it seems like he's got currently 8 gateways, and he has produced a second robotic facility, chrono boosting out Colossi like there's no tomorrow. Looking at the unit count, we already see him having 2 Colossi out, and there's a battle going on. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen, the Vikings seem to have landed, running away with the Zealots. It's a very questionable move, and again the infantry force of Kas is forced to retreat back into his fortified base. And these Vikings, they should have been there killing Colossi. This was definitely a questionable move again by the Ukrainian menace Empire.Kas, and I do not understand what his thinking was. Of course, if your Vikings aren't shooting at Colossus, they should be doing something else, frail as they are, but still, that was army maneuvering that was questionable at best. Now we see the growing death ball of the Protoss army positioning themselves here in the middle. Of course, they don't want to walk too far away from the gold expansion. That's where Kas will be most likely to hit, and it seems indeed as if NightEnD will take this opportunity to expand once again up here. This will put him ahead of Kas, who is of course practically outmined here on his previous gold expansion. So Kas needs to either attack, he's getting close to max, but they're very quite even, 166 to 165 supply, or he needs to attack, or he needs to expand, and I think he will attack. Kas of course is a very reactive player, and here we see now 5 Colossi again. Kas is now well on the way with his level 2 upgrades for his army. He's got 1 ghost in production, and that will be his first ghost actually. And only now we see that NightEnD is going for Blink upgrade as well as Templar archives. Templars will of course be a major boost to his army, especially since Kas has completely chosen to forego mech. So storms coupled with Colossus, that will definitely do a hell of a lot of damage, but again it all comes down to positioning, and now we see that Kas has added so many medevacs to his forces. He's actually got as many as 9 medevacs. That is a lot, ladies and gentlemen, and now 2 ghosts as well, coupled with 8 Vikings, and he chose to not go for any upgrades with those. So now NightEnD, he is ahead expansion-wise, he will be right now, and we see 1 single Marine making life pesky for the Protoss. But on the other hand, these 2 bases are not easily defended at the same time. That is why he's positioning his forces with, and by the way, he's got 7 Colossi. That may be too much, ladies and gentlemen. he now has to attack and be aggressive in order to defend his forces, and here comes the battle, which may be the deciding battle. Empire.Kas maxed, so is NightEnD, and of course Protoss base can resupply faster, but it's far away from home, and now they're clashing. Guardian shields going up, and Medivacs just healing those forces like there's no tomorrow, and it seems like the Colossi are falling like flies. 13 Vikings in the air, and the Stalkers just simply go down. The Medivacs are keeping the infantry alive so well, and this, ladies and gentlemen, was a resounding victory for the player from Ukraine who got 3rd place in the Teamliquid Starleague number 3, taking down Hazuobs, the nowadays teammate of NightEnD. He's got 165 supply left standing. That's 9 Medivacs, 16 Vikings, 12 Marines and 21 Evil Marauders, and a couple of Ghosts. He will now be able to take down this expansion uncontested, and it simply was a game of positioning in the end. And it seems like getting too many Vikings, that's okay as long as you have too many Medivacs. Then it doesn't matter if your infantry ball is too small. And now we see Kas might actually abuse this cliff that I was talking about earlier, where you can land your Vikings. Seems like they're taking down probes. They have a bit of range actually. They're actually getting to shoot these zealots as well. It's rarely they get that opportunity, so I'm sure they're happy about it. And now we see again the Medivacs just keeping these Marines and Marauders alive with EMPs on top of it. This is just a slaughter of zealots now. They're going back to Ire, and NightEnD has to GG. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, was a TVP that was very surgical and very intricate indeed. Again, the compositioning, that is all good and well. We see now here how NightEnD had added Immortal to his forces in a sort of desperation move to counter the heavy Marauder army, of which Kas had 33 at the end. That is simply, well, an advantage for the Terran player. And we see here even how Kas took that well, 5th base and 4th expansion in the end, just as NightEnD had emptied his gold here. This was a very surgical Terran versus Protoss. It seems that Kas, who's practicing so hard, he's got thousands of games on his account, simply could read NightEnD better. It's a war of attrition. Wear down the Protoss army and get the just right amount of units. He knew that if he could take down the Colossi, the Stalker, Sentry and Zealot count would be too small to be combated by this infantry force backed up by Medivacs, because simply he had too many Colossi. But then again, there was a good reason behind it, so it's very difficult to argue what went wrong for NightEnD, but it's definite to say that Kas could capitalize on it. This is the last GGvision StarCraft 2 broadcast of the premiere week. The GGvision StarCraft 2 Colosseum will begin formally and fully on Monday, and tomorrow I will talk to you about that in full in a vlog video. So do stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching, and if you liked it, feel free to consider subscribing. There will be a new video out practically every day. Thank you again, and GG for now.
Adjutant online. Golden Registry.